Star Wars is a franchise that is very close to my heart. I grew up with the prequels, and deep down, it hurt when people would make fun of them, but it wasn't completely unwarranted.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
I'll try spinning. That's a good trick.
Over time, the love for the prequels has only grown, as the kids that grew up with them did as well. 3 years after Revenge of the Sith premiered in theaters, a new movie was released, Star Wars: The Clone Wars. With the final season just coming to an end, I feel like now is a good time to look back at how The Clone Wars has changed how people think about the prequels. Not many people actually enjoyed the Clone Wars movie, which debuted in 2008. The animation seemed unfinished at the time, and Anakin's new Padawan, Ahsoka, was unbearable for most of the audience. But after the movie was released, there were new episodes of the show every week on Cartoon Network. Myself and countless other kids stole the TV on Friday morning to watch the show. One of the biggest strengths the show had to offer was that it had extra time to spend developing characters, which makes Anakin, Padme, and even Jar Jar Binks seem like better characters. This was evident for Ahsoka, who is now one of the most beloved Star Wars characters of all time. And she is also slated to have her live-action debut in the second season of The Mandalorian. Early on in the Clone Wars, you could tell that they had potential to go very far by telling longer stories. This started with the Malevolence story arc, where the Separatists made a superweapon and used it to attack a medical station. Although it was rough around the edges, it really showed that there was potential in the kids' show. This potential expanded into many other story arcs, which we will cover later. Right after that arc was the first of many clone-centric episodes that focused on what it was like to be a clone or a soldier in a time of war. These types of episodes became some of the best the show had to offer. They also built the world of Star Wars a lot more than people realize. You get to see all different views of Coruscant, Naboo, Kamino, and even new planets like Ryloth, Mandalore, and many more. It even makes politics a lot more engaging and easy to understand for everyone. There's an entire arc about a senator being set up to control an intergalactic bank, and having both sides conspire against him to give the Chancellor more power. How many times would that be an interesting plot for a kid to watch? The world building in the prequels was the best of the entire Star Wars saga, but the dialogue in them was some of the worst in any blockbuster movie. That problem is fixed in the Clone Wars because George Lucas isn't the one who's actually writing the episodes. All the dialogue feels natural, and it seems like the Clone Wars take the best of all three trilogies and combines them into a single show where we are gifted with some of the best Star Wars content that has ever existed. There are some episodes of the show that are good and some that are bad, just like every other show. But with the Clone Wars, you know when the episodes are good. There are some episodes that stand out above all others, and the ones that I will be talking about are only some of the ones that are above the rest. Starting with the Mortis arc, Mortis is a world that is supposed to represent the Force itself. Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka are sent to investigate a distress signal, but when they get there, they only see a weird cube. They lose consciousness all of a sudden, and wake up on a world that dies in the night and is reborn in the day. Inhabiting this world is the Father, the Daughter, and the Son. The Daughter represents the light, while the Son represents the dark. The Father is supposed to keep the balance between the two, but he is dying. They called Anakin here because he is the chosen one, and the Father says that he must take his place. There are many different twists and turns in this arc, like where the Son corrupts Ahsoka and turns her against Anakin and Obi-Wan, or when the Son seduces Anakin to the dark side and shows him all of his future before the Father wipes his memory. The story was extremely confusing to many kids, but going back and looking at it again, it's one of the best arcs because of how it tackles the Force and many of the aspects that surround it. In Season 4, there is an entire story arc that takes place on the planet Umbara. It is widely regarded as one of the best arcs ever made, because of how it views clones and how similar it is to the Vietnam War. The Republic is invading a world shrouded in darkness, and we get to see what a true mass-scale invasion looks like in the Clone Wars, and it's magnificent. The arc focuses on mismanagement in the military through the eyes of the clones and their stand-in General Pong Krell. He views the clones like battle droids and sends them in because he doesn't believe the clones are actually people. It is up for Rex and his men to convince him otherwise, while still fighting the war with strategies that turn men against each other in more ways than one. This story arc is everything I love about Star Wars, and it makes the clones more human than actual people, which made me completely fall in love with Star Wars all over again. In the 4th season, they make a very brave decision. They brought Darth Maul, the main antagonist in The Phantom Menace, back to life. This inevitably became one of the best decisions that they possibly made, because he steals the show in every scene that he's in. His entire character arc is focused on getting revenge for everything that he lost. His brother and apprentice, Savage Opress, found him on a junk world and brought him back to their homeworld, where they were able to bring him back to his sanity. From there, they were reborn as rogues, destined to gather power in a warring galaxy. They eventually control the planet Mandalore, which gathers the attention of his former master, Darth Sidious. Maul was kept alive purely off his hatred for Obi-Wan, who had originally killed him in The Phantom Menace. Over the course of the entire show, they made Maul one of the best antagonists, and were able to bring his character to one of the most tragic in all of Star Wars. As the Season 5 finale, Ahsoka is framed for bombing the Jedi Temple. She has to go on the run, and her belief in the entire Jedi Order is shocked to the core. While she is on the run, she runs into many characters who she has been close to in the past, and has to figure out why everything is happening. In the background, Anakin uncovers the real perpetrator and stands up for Ahsoka in the trial that will determine her fate. And in the Siege of Mandalore, the series finale, Maul and Ahsoka collide. The final story aligns with the timeline of Revenge of the Sith. It focuses on the Republic trying to capture Maul so that they can uncover the mystery of who Darth Sidious is. The show was originally cancelled in 2014, but was brought back to tell us this story, and they made it the best 4 episodes in the entire series. Without spoiling much, it combines the best parts of the entire Star Wars prequels and delivers in every single aspect that a great show or movie should. The stories alone aren't why the show is so good. That is also because of the clones. They are shown that they are more than just soldiers, and even from the beginning of the show, they are made to be more than just a mindless killing machine. The first episodes that only focus on the clones are some of the highlights of the first few seasons, and they all include Captain Rex, the leader of the 501st Clone Legion during the Clone Wars. Over the show, the clones grow with the viewer, and as they experience the atrocities of war, you begin to see just how much they have changed. You will see how they deal with disasters, deserters, overwhelming odds, questionable decisions, and the loss of their brothers and fellow soldiers. Each clone that is named serves a purpose in the story, and you get to see how they change over the show, and some of them become fan favorites, but because it is war, you deal with losses as well. This show brings so much to the table that you should at least try watching it. Even if you are just a minor fan, there are aspects of the show that everyone will like. You don't even have to watch it in order. It is an anthology series, meaning it doesn't have any set order, so if you just want to watch Darth Maul, you can watch those episodes. If you just want to watch clone episodes, those are there as well. At least give it a shot. As Yoda said, do or do not. There is no try. So watch the show and say that you did it, because you will not regret it.